Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning, lecturer. And my name is Srachana, majoring in international relations, studying in a weekend. And today I'm going to present about the topic dependent and independent clause. So please, now let's go together. Now we are going to understand about dependent clause. So what is dependent clause? And it refers to a group of words that contain a subject and verb that doesn't have a complete short. It is not a main clause, so it cannot stand on its own. It is used to modify the independent clause. And the last point is about subordinating words, such as when, after, before, while, etc. And these kind of words are also included that makes it necessary for it here refers to dependent clause to be attached to an independent clause to make sense. So here are examples of dependent clause. Before we go to bed, after she left here, these sentences are dependent clauses because it doesn't have enough short, it doesn't have enough meaning. Now let's move to note. Some common subordinating conjunctions are after, although, as, is, because, before, even if, even though, is, in order to, sin, though, unless, until, whatever, when, whenever, whether, and why. So this kind of subordinating conjunction, it also appear in the dependent clause. As you can see, examples. Sina was a child when I call you. As soon as she arrives. These kind of sentences are dependent clauses because it doesn't have enough meaning. And all of these clauses above contain a subject and verbs, but the addition of subordinating conjunctions modifies these clauses to be dependent and incomplete on their own, like you can see. And note, you can make the clauses into complete sentences by using a comma and an independent clause. For example, since I were a child until now, I have lost myself 3 times. As you can see, this sentence is independent clause. When I call you, if we say when I call you, it's dependent clause. But if we say when I call you, comma, Mary was watching TV series. So here is independent clause. As soon as she arrives, I will let you know. This sentence is also an independent clause too. Note, the clauses can be reversed to create a complete sentence as well. In that case, the independent clause would come before the dependent clause, and the comma would no longer be necessary. It is about the reversion that you can see here. Examples, I have lost myself 3 times since I was a child until now. So here's no comma is needed. If you want to add comma, you can reverse the sentence. Mary was watching TV series when I call you. I will let you know as soon as she arrives. So these 3 sentences have no comma in the sentence. And now we move to independent clause. So what is independent clause? Independent clause can stand alone as a complete sentence because it has a complete short. It must contain a subject and predicate that go together express a complete short. It is also called a main clause because it contains a sentence main idea. And now look at the examples of independent clause. I want to go to the sea. Here is independent clause. Because she wants to drink Coke, I am going to buy it for her. John loves traveling, but I prefer staying at home to traveling. Here you can see these 3 sentences have enough meaning to hear and to make the sentence like understandable to the listener or to the learner. So it is called independent clause. So now I will tell you about type of sentences that can be independent clause too. So the first one about simple sentence. Simple sentence is basically considered to be an independent clause. It has only one subject followed by finite verb and a predicate part, like you can see. The baby cries. You can see the baby is the subject and cry is simple predicate because it has only one verb. And it has enough meaning, so it is called independent clause because it makes sense. The earth moves around the sun. So you can see the earth is subject, moves around the sun is complete predicate because it has the information to modify the subject. So the earth moves around the sun. So the two sentences are called independent clauses. Now move to compound sentence. What is compound sentence? Compound sentence can also be an independent clause too. It is composed of at least two independent clauses. It doesn't require a dependent clause. The clauses are joined by a coordinating conjunction such as like with or without comma. A correlative conjunction with or without comma. We can use comma or we don't use it. It doesn't mind. Or a semicolon that functions as a conjunction. For example, Mary wants to eat fish, but her boyfriend doesn't. The water is hot. I have just boiled it. So you can see these two sentences. There are two independent clauses that join by coordinating conjunction, comma and semicolon. Okay. Now, next we are going to understand about complex sentence. And complex sentence is like different from compound sentence. Complex sentence can also be an independent clause too. It is a sentence with an independent clause and at least one dependent clause, or we can call it subordinating clause. Note here, the dependent clause is introduced by either a subordinating conjunction, such as although, because, or a relative pronoun such as who or which, whom, that, whose, and so on. And look at the example complex sentence. My mom and I are going to visit a small girl who lives in the countryside. So you can see the sentence, my mom and I are going to visit a small girl, is independent clause, and we use it with another dependent clause. Who live in the countryside? Who live in the countryside is dependent clause. So when an independent clause is used with another dependent clause, it is called complex sentence. John is going to buy a phone, which is the newest model. John is going to buy a phone is independent clause, which is the newest model is dependent clause. So when it is used together, it is called complex sentence. Now move to compound complex sentence. Compound complex sentence can also be an independent clause. It is composed of at least two independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses, which can also be called subordinating clause. So now look at the examples. I want to stay alone, but my brother always brings his friends to celebrate a party at home almost every day, which annoys me deeply. So you can see this sentence. I want to stay alone is independent clause, but my brother always brings his friends to celebrate a party at home almost every day is independent clause, which annoys me deeply is dependent clause. So when two independent clauses are used with one or more dependent clauses, it is called compound complete sentence. Another example, because I love to read, not only do I like to visit the library, but I also enjoy going to bookstores too. Correlative conjunction. Not only but also it is called correlative conjunction. So you can look at these two examples. There are two independent clauses joined by one or more dependent clauses. So it's called compound complex sentence. Okay, thank you for your listening, for your attention, and thank you so much. And do you have any question? You can put it here or feel free to ask me. Okay, thank you so much.